The protagonist's life is thrown into turmoil after a night out with his best friend, Carly. After breaking up with his fiancée, Carly deceived him into loving her for 2 years. When she finally saw him, she yanked him away, and the protagonist felt a deep ache in his chest. Carly had been deceiving him for months, and the betrayal was not an error, but a decision she repeatedly made. Carly cheated on him, and the protagonist had to leave without turning around. He calls his best friend Mike, who doesn't change the reality. He tries to call him, but his voice doesn't change the reality. He calls Mike, who reveals that he is Carly's car. Carly used to look at him the same way every time they spent together. When he is startled by his friend Mike's concern, he hugs him into an embrace. The protagonist mutters in his voice, and something inside of him shatters. Mike's grip tightened on him for months, and she has hardly spoken above a whisper. The protagonist's life is a stark reminder of the consequences of betrayal and the importance of honesty and trust. Seth, feeling empty and irate, decides to get drunk at a club. He is pushed by strangers and loses track of the number of drinks he has consumed. He dances in the crowd, losing himself in the rhythm of the music. Seth takes Mike by the arm and drew him to dance with him. Mike's eyes blaze as he gazes at Seth, and he sways closer, expressing his love for him. Seth's breath caught his attention, and he kisses her back for a brief period before removing his hand. Seth's eyes widen and he inhales, revealing that he is intoxicated and has no idea what he is doing. As Seth falls into Mike's bed, he reminisces about the previous night, the club, the drinking, and the kiss on his stomach. He wakes up, but Mike's voice is unintelligible, and he is not making a joke. He asks Seth where his clothes are, and he threw up on the chair next to him. Seth tries to change him, but Mike refuses to look into his eyes, and he remembers a lie he heard last night. He kisses Seth, and a quick breath escapes his lips. The story highlights the importance of a strong connection and the consequences of alcohol consumption. The text describes a tense and emotional situation between two friends, Seth and Mike. Seth is intoxicated and tries to distract Mike by tapping his fingers across his phone screen, but he doesn't look at her. Mike tries to make them feel normal, but Seth is upset by their attempt to stop her. During the drive home, Seth kisses Mike and feels a sense of uneasiness. The idea of Mike acting strangely towards Seth is more upsetting than Carly's betrayal. Seth is upset that Mike hardly texts, but she believes it's okay. The next day, she texts him, and he reads it. The next day, he responds briefly, but he takes even longer to respond. The next day, Seth tries to understand why Mike is withdrawing and why he's avoiding her. She enters Mike's apartment and asks him about his actions. Mike explains that he's avoiding him, and Seth tries to explain it. Mike laughs without humor, and Seth moves toward Mike, who blurts out his comments. The text highlights the emotional turmoil and the need for Seth to confront her feelings and understand why Mike is avoiding her. The text serves as a reminder of the importance of maintaining a healthy relationship and avoiding negative influences. Seth, a man, is at a loss for words after hearing Mike's remarks about his past. He is terrified and unsure of where he stands with Mike. He tries to end the conversation, but everything seems to have changed. Mike seems cautious and hesitant, and Seth feels strange without him. Carly, Seth's girlfriend, returns, and they discuss their feelings. Seth is curious about Carly's attraction and her feelings for him. She acknowledges that he made a mistake and doesn't deserve his pardon. Seth misses Carly and waits for heartbreak to strike again. Carly recoiled for 3 months, and Seth sighs and says, "I don't hate you. I hate myself for it." She looks up at him with optimism, but Seth doesn't. He firmly cuts Carly off, and she nods, saying she understands. Seth is relieved when he says, "Don't feel that way about you anymore," because it is true. He is expecting a sense of loss or closure, but all he feels is relief. Carly appears to be crying, and Seth apologizes, but he merely nods back. As Seth leaves, he realizes that Mike is the one person he wanted to discuss this with. The night he showed was a risky one, as they were once in love, but now only a closed chapter. The narrator visits Mike's apartment and is hesitant to talk to him. He asks what is wrong, and they sit on his couch. Mike's face is inscrutable, and he seems to be observing him differently. The narrator is unsure if Mike may have exhaled while seated next to them, but they eventually meet. Mike's brows furrowed slightly, and the narrator breaks eye contact and whispers. The narrator realizes that they are falling for Mike, and they have been trying to suppress the thoughts for days. They describe how they feel when Mike isn't there, and they keep looking for him. They also repeat the kiss, not out of regret, but because of something that terrified them. The truth strikes the narrator hard, and they feel as though they are standing in the most natural situation. Mike has been retreating since that night, but they cannot suppress their feelings any longer. They promise themselves to have one drink for fun, but before they know it, they have 3 or 4 drinks. The narrator returns to Mike's place and observes him, noticing his unreadable face. He reveals that he is Seth, and they are intoxicated. Seth tries to resist Mike's desire for his breath, but he insists that he will pretend it never happened when he wakes up tomorrow. Seth tightens her hold on Mike, believing he wants his breath to come out. Mike's mouth opens, and he looks at Seth as if he is looking for something. Seth doesn't give him an excuse to end this, but she triggers his hand. Mike froze when she pressed her lips to his, closing the gap between them. As soon as he returned her kiss, he melted, and everything else vanished. Mike finds Seth's waist, feeling desperate and intense. His fingers grip his shirt, and their kiss deepens, and the narrator feels his warmth. He pulls her back against the couch, striking her in the middle. The pressure of his weight causes shivers running down her spine, and he lowered his hot breath across his skin. As their bodies touched, the passion between them grew stronger. Mike's body was pushed against her with each kiss, touch, and sharp breath. A groan tore from her throat as he rolled against her, and the friction was intolerable. The narrator meets his eyes and face, and she feels more certain of anything that was sufficient for him to seize her lips once again. The moment he takes her, it was about more than just passion. The morning after the deed, everything should have seemed odd. The protagonist wakes up to the warmth of a body next to her and the steady cadence of Mike's breathing. They share a moment of trepidation and a feeling of tranquility, but Mike's eyes are broken and he sighs. The protagonist reassures him that he is not intoxicated and that he has always been his. He reassures her that she doesn't care about labels or what others might think. The protagonist and Mike take their time adjusting to this new version of themselves, and they don't wake up the following day with everything working out. They have disagreements, become irritated, and hesitate occasionally. The protagonist never decides otherwise, as it was just something waiting for her to open her eyes and see it for the first time. When they inform their friends, they are surprised to see them together. Mike and the protagonist have a conversation, and they are surprised that they have been waiting for years of love. Sierra and Ian are mad that it took them this long, but they are just mad that it took them this long. The protagonist laughs as they moaned and pushed Mike's face into his hands, as they were the only ones who had been overanalyzing things. After months of dating, the author and Mike found each other and felt at home together. One night, they shared their love, and the author's doubts vanished. They realized that their love was about him and their relationship, not about their past. They were certain they had found the person they were destined to be with, but they were unsure if this love would last or if they would risk everything for it. The author is at the brink of their relationship and encourages others to sign up for the next phase.